All right, there we go. Now we got our recording going. So, as I was saying just before this, I've got three back-to-back events I'm going to be on the next following 3 Thursdays. And then 4th of July falls on the fourth Thursday. So, for the next month, we've decided to move the calls to Mondays. So, keep that in mind for the next four, and then we'll be back on Thursday regular time. But
Okay.
for the next four anyway, Mondays, same time, 11 o'clock Pacific. And hopefully that works. We took kind of a pseudo vote last week, and everybody seemed to think that Monday was the way to go. So that's the way the world turns for the next month. But it's
Okay.
yeah, and it's just unbelievable. My June calendar is completely full at this point. We just started into June and it is completely full. There's not one day open left in June. It's pretty crazy. I definitely have the flywheel thing going on. Remember when we did the year end, I was talking about the flywheel concept, and
Yeah.
once you get one and the ball starts rolling, this thing starts moving and you've got momentum. And man, at this point I'm like, how do we slow this damn thing down? how do how do I get off this train?
Uh,
It's a good train though.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's really good.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you're making 20 million a month. You have to expect to put some time in.
Well, we try anyway. But what I'm gonna do also, I'm looking at my calendar later today, and I've been talking about this for a while, putting more boating events together. 'Cause that's on the third Thursday. That's what we're doing. Craig Duswalt wanted to do a 2 day event on the boat, with a lot of his folks. So I committed to that. We're going to do a Wednesday, Thursday on the boat with his group. And it's a little bit different kind of trip. We're doing more people than I can fit and sleep on the boat. So what we're doing is we're going to go out to Catalina for the day, cruise around Catalina, do a mastermind, do a little fishing, whatever they want to do. And then we'll come back to Long Beach. They can all stay in the hotel right across the street, then come back the next day and we'll just go down the coast, do some whale watching and masterminding, and just have a really cool experience for everybody. So that's what's going on the third Thursday. Next week, I'll be joining Todd Brown's group in Florida. And he's got a lot of guys that they're like the upper echelon of the internet marketers. And the reason that I wanted to go and get with these guys is I'm hoping that they can help us create some template campaigns for Acquisition Air. Because I continue to hear this. There's only two things I hear. Either it works or it doesn't. And it's very clear to me, for those that it doesn't, it is a clean, clear mismatch. It's a clean, clear mismatch of either not getting the audience right or not getting the messaging right, or a combination thereof. Like, I just looked at Libby's campaign yesterday, and she's in the image consultant business. People will pay her a lot of money to hear how they should look when they show up at a business event. And this is a very, very niched thing, because like there's a lot of people that don't care. Like I'm included in that group. I'm going to walk out on stage in my bare feet, and if you don't like it, that's just too bad. I'm me. I'm not changing for anybody, but I'm a different bird. There's a lot of people that don't have the confidence that I do, and they feel that if they dress the part, that will give them the confidence. And it doesn't there's nothing, no right or wrong to that. There's nothing wrong with that. What gives you confidence is whatever makes you feel confident. If dressing nice makes you feel confident and you come off confident because of that, that might be what you need to do. I've never lacked any confidence problems. So I can just show up as is, wash and wear. I'm ready to go. I don't jump through hoops for anybody. Uh, but again, and that's what she does. She does image consulting. And when I looked at her keywords were like fashion tips. To me, fashion tips is going to get you a bunch of teenage girls. They're not going to pay you a lot of money to be an image consultant, right? So to me, that was a mismatch of who she's attracting. And then when you attract the wrong person and you put the wrong messaging in front of them, naturally you're not going to get any conversion from that. Naturally, that is the case where somebody could say, well, I bought, 100 or 200 or 1,000 prospects and nobody answered my email. I didn't get one response to my email. That to me says that is a clear, clean mismatch somewhere.
Mhm.
So it's a real thinking game to figure out what your prospects are going to type into that search box. And if you're doing keywords that are going to attract the wrong audience and you're putting that messaging out to the audience, there's no doubt about you're not going to get any response, or you'll get poor response. You'll get bad response. You get, why are you sending me this crap? You know, you'll get that kind of response of, if nothing else. So that's what I'm in hopes of doing with Todd Brown's group, is to immerse myself in 25 guys that actually know what they're doing in email marketing, and possibly get some of them using Acquisitionaire for their own benefit. And I'm going to see if I can finagle some campaigns out of them, like what's working. Because so far we have a handful of people that are scaling up. They've figured it out. It doesn't necessarily work with everything. This is another key thing about Acquisitionaire. It doesn't necessarily work with every market. You have to have a market that has secondary search function in it. There are some markets that just don't. There's no industry sites around them. There's no sites that have search boxes that a lot of people are going to and looking for information. And if that's the case, then that's not the right traffic source for you. You're not going to be able to scale it. So it's not a perfect fit for everyone. That is absolutely 100% for sure, as is any traffic source. Your people have to be there for it to be a good traffic source. So that said, any questions? Anything you guys want me to particularly address? Teresa, go ahead.
Have you looked into AI Fusion Buddy at all?
I haven't heard of that one.
You haven't? It's like all over the place.
Oh, is it
It
is it
supposedly does everything and is somehow attached to Gemini. They're
okay?
doing a launch at the end of July, but there's a bunch of people who have affiliate links that are like all over the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And
If you're on any of the JV Zoo lists,
yep.
that's where these things, they're just, offers are coming out of the woodwork, and I almost just started being blind to them. I may have seen it in my email box, but
Mhm.
I've just like kind of put the blinders on because they're just coming out so fast. It's like an avalanche of AI products. And
Oh
and
yeah, I think everybody is just putting AI on their own marketing. I could do like AI tax representation.
Yeah, and here's a problem with what's going on. You guys have all heard it. I know you've experienced it. It's the shiny object syndrome. You got 50 shiny objects flying at you every day. And they're all great looking objects. And they could probably all do great things. But what you got to look at in your business, in your business model, what do you need? Like, what problems do you have? And look for shiny objects that solve those problems and move you forward. Not just a bunch of new stuff you can learn about and just keep spinning your wheels here and there. And it's like I see this all the time when I go to events. You've got speakers on stage that are selling good stuff for people that are ready for it and need it. But they're so good at their pitch. They're so good at the FOMO. They're so good at the all the psychology behind it. And I know I am 100% guilty of this myself. I cannot tell you how many tens of thousands of dollars I have thrown at speakers on stages to get stuff with the best of intentions, and I do absolutely nothing with it. I get back and I'm like, oh God, that's awesome. But I'm doing all this other stuff, and then it just gets set aside and then it's gone. It's freaking just gone. I mean,
Oh, mea culpa.
I have a whole hard drive full of shit I've never used before. It literally, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100 grand over the last 10 years. That wouldn't shock me in the slightest to know that. I buy a lot of stuff like the JV Zoo stuff. I buy a lot of that stuff when it looks good, uh, to actually see if it is good so I can tell you guys about it if it is. The honest truth is most of it's garbage. That's why you don't hear me talk about any of it. There's a few things out that just like blew my socks off, literally, like Gamma. Gamma, I mean, when I saw that thing and I used it, it was like, holy shit, everybody needs to know about this. This is a tool that for us, for people in the ACT program, you need a presentation. There's no doubt about it. You need lead magnets. You need all this stuff that Gamma supplies in an instant. It makes you look brilliant. It makes you look professional. It solves so many problems for us as small marketers that it's a no-brainer. But you get all these things coming out from JV Zoo. They'll do one thing here, one thing there, and it's all stuff that you may or may not need. So
Hey, John, wouldn't you agree? And 90, well, I don't know what percentage wise, but most of them are really just interfaces to back end things that we all have access to anyway. I mean, to
yeah,
your point, I mean, I must be getting 20 of these a day. And if you get spellbound and watch these things, you start sweating, my hands start shaking. I need to have this. But then if you do it, well, it's all stuff that we're doing anyway. There are a lot of these things. I drove down the street the other day. I think I saw an AI pizza parlor. You're just throwing AI in front of everything. And I was speaking to a person who I respect, more of a college professor type, and he says, most people that are labeling things AI isn't even AI in the first place. They're just throwing it out there. A bot is not artificial. Having a bot on your pizza parlor that says we're open from 9 to 5 and we serve pepperoni pizza is not artificial intelligence. There's quite a reach there. They're just throwing AI on everything.
So they're saying that so they can say they have AI pizza. Huh? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But
Well, that's marketing.
yeah,
That's all that is. That's marketing.
yeah.
So
You can't be a hater there. They're doing some of these guys doing great jobs. I mean, I start twitching in my eye. I have to have this. I have to have this. But I suspect I have a hard drive pretty close to the value of yours in things I've never even used. And it's sort of crazy, actually.
Yeah, it like drives me nuts to think, my God, what could I have done with all that money?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not something, that's not a thought that should be going through your head. The thoughts that should be going through your head is, what can I do to make money? Not fussing over the money you've lost. That's in the rearview mirror. You want to just pluck that thing off and throw it to the roadside where it belongs.
I'm thinking you should have seen how much you could have invested in Bitcoin and how much it'd be worth now.
Oh, XRP.
Or XRP, yeah.
Yeah, don't look in the rearview mirror. It will just do damage to your brain. There's the only thing you want to learn from what's in the rearview mirror is history, so you don't repeat it, or so you can take advantage of it. That's it. But don't sit there and toil and beat yourself up because, oh, I should have done this or I shouldn't have done that.
No, I want to learn from you guys who spent all that money and didn't do anything with it because I want to learn what not to do.
Well, yeah, that's it. I've been saying that for years. I've been telling everybody, stop spending money. It's just stop. Figure out what you need to do and then look for where you should spend your money. It's so easy to go to a conference and just buy stuff. But 9 times out of 10, and probably 99 out of 100, whatever it is you're buying, you didn't know about it the day before, and you didn't know you needed it till right then. And what you really know in the back of your mind is you're never really going to do it.
Yeah.
You're never going to use it.
We all have our addictions. I think, my wife laughs, she sneaks packages in the house of shoes and things, but it's really no difference, I'm a digital degenerate and she goes shopping the other way, but I think it's a hobby. I guess it's a hobby in a certain way.
I tried to sneak a $60,000 truck in the garage yesterday. The wife kind of noticed it.
You just weren't very stealthy.
No, I actually went and looked at one yesterday. You talk about buying what you need. I need a truck, but like I looked at the price and went, if I took that money out of my account right now, that's the down payment and what that investment's making me in the investments it's in. It's like, okay, the truck's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's like I'll go buy a junk truck and keep my investment money making me money, mailbox money every month.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody just within the last couple of days, and I won't say who it is, but I gave them some advice, and it's advice that I've actually done myself. And he's in a situation where he really needs to make money. And I'm like, right now you have a massive opportunity. But the thing is, he was not focused on making money, he was focused on spending money. He was like, oh, I got to get a new apartment. I got to get this and I got to get that. And I'm like, no, you need to figure out how to live like a rat. You need to figure out how to deal with what you've got. You don't need anything else. You are enough. You literally just put your head in the sand, live like a rat for a certain amount of time, and the payoff will justify the means. The means will justify the end. And I said, I've actually done this myself. When I moved into the internet space, I literally worked like a rat for 2 years. I like had no personal life. I got out of a boat I was in, so I had no boat to play with. I literally was pumping out 2 to 5 websites a week for 2 years. That's all I did. I was just grinding these things out. We're talking about the mid 90s here, where nobody knew how to do websites. It was like a magical superpower. And I took advantage of that. I was swimming in that clean, clear blue water. It was all the business I wanted. And most of those companies that I built those websites for, that was in the mid 90s. Most of them are either still my clients or they've passed away. because they were much older than I was at the time. So there's an opportunity for that now. Like, you can't do what I did back in the mid 90s right now because everybody already has a website. The water's bloody. You know, there's a lot of business that could be had in websites. Yeah, no doubt. But if you're trying to take business away from people that already have websites and they've already got providers, that's a tough game. That's a tough game when they already have an existing relationship with somebody. So that's a tough game. But what you have right now is you have the opportunity that I had in 1995. Nobody knows how to do AI. Nobody knows how to do bots. They're all seeing that they could use this, and this is a very useful thing. And it's a way to acquire customers at literally at lightning speed. Acquiring customers to do a bot on their website, it's like magic. It's the same magical power I had in the mid 90s building websites for people that knew nothing about that. You have the ability right now to acquire a massive amount of clientele if you're in this space. If you want to serve businesses and you want to provide them business services, this is a way to create an enormous amount of relationships that can lead to all kinds of other work. It can lead to web development, it can lead to consultations, it can lead to whatever you want to provide them as services. So that was my advice to him, was like, forget about spending money and live like a rat for a short time, do what you got to do and build your future. Like, that is why everything has been so easy for me moving forward, was because I was willing to live like a rat for 2 years. You know, and I've never really explained it that way till I explained it to him, and I'm like, wow, it doesn't sound very good, living like a rat. But it's an analogy that is, you know, it's like you're a pack rat. You're literally just focused on packing food away. And when I'm talking about food, I'm talking about customers. The rat is acquiring customers. He's like building and building and building his stock. That stock is for survival. And in our case, to me, what survival means doesn't mean just getting along. To me, survival means freedom. You take my freedom away, I'm not going to survive. Right? So for me to have freedom, I've got to have a lot of clients. I got to have a lot of customers. I have to have a lot of income. It has to be recurring income. So that for me was where I actually learned the whole freedom system. Because prior to that, prior to living like a rat, I traded dollars for hours, and I traded a lot of dollars for my hours. You know, so I did really well. In the commercial photography business, I charged $3,500 a day plus expenses. And we're talking about in the late 80s, early 90s. That was a shitload of money. You didn't find anybody that was making that kind of money, but I was. But if I didn't work, how much did I make? I didn't make squat. If I was working, I was making good money. And I like that because I could work one day and I could go play for a week. That's freedom, you know? So when that went away, when Photoshop came in and literally destroyed that, it ripped it right out from under me. And there was nothing I could do about it. But I had acquired all those customers over those years. And I looked at what are they going to need next? And it was the internet. It was websites. I didn't know anything about it. I knew nothing about computers. But what did I have? I had confidence. I could go in there and say, hey, I can build your website. I had no idea I was going to build a friggin' website. But I had the confidence that they would say, oh, okay, great. How much? and I got the jobs. And I built all those websites. And I literally lived like a rat for a couple of years doing it. I was getting every one I could, just grinding them out. And at the end of that second year, it was the first time I realized, I go, hey, the rat has enough here. The rat has packed away enough. I can pull my head out and start looking around and say, oh, what else is out here? I don't have to pack away anymore. I realized that if I stopped working, it didn't matter. There was enough money coming in from what I had just done over the last 2 years that I didn't really have to work anymore. It was all coming in on hosting, because I didn't just build a website as a one-time fee and walk away. I was acquiring those customers because those customers were housing those websites I built on my virtual property, on my servers. They were paying me month to month to month to rent that property. It was like virtual real estate. And at that point, and 2 years into that game, I realized I don't have to work anymore. If I stop living like a rat, my income's not going to go down. I had built this income up one step at a time. As my income was going down from photography, my income from web hosting was going up. They passed evenly. I never had a dip in income. I mean, that might have been luck, but that's the way it went. and at the end of that year, I asked Barb. I said, what are we doing next week? I saw this deal for a cruise ship, and it was like a last minute deal. It was a super special. They were trying to fill the cabins. I said, what are we doing next week? She goes, oh, nothing. I'm like, well, pack your shit. We're going on a cruise. And she's like, can we afford that? Because keep in mind, I'd lived like a rat for 2 years. Didn't spend money on anything. Didn't do anything fun. Just ground to build this thing. And so her concern was, can we afford that? And I laughed at her and I said, we're going to lose money if we stay home because you can't afford to feed me for the price of this cruise ship. And I had already realized that whether we were on a cruise ship or sitting there at home, we were going to make the same amount of money. And since it was cheaper to feed me on the cruise ship, we were going to lose money if we stayed home. And that year, that third year, we spent like, I don't know, I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks on cruise ships. And I kind of coasted. I kind of just let my brain just decompress and just, I'm like, okay, this was totally worth what I just went through. And that was where I really got to be able to be creative, because I was no longer, you guys have heard of the rat wheel, right? When you're in the rat wheel, you're just doing repetitive, one after another. And it's really hard to be creative in that. If you're grinding a wheel to pay your bills and you're so focused to pay your bills, it's really hard to be creative, to be a creative thinker and think, oh, well, what can I do to create residual income? But when I got that opportunity to like decompress for that year, I started looking at other opportunities of what can I do? And that's when I found the search engine optimization. And again, I didn't really even know what it was or what to call it, but I knew how to do it. And it wasn't like I learned it somewhere. I was actually in a class. I took a seminar, and it was for furthering my education on web development. And the woman that was putting the class on, she got to the point where she was teaching how to put meta tags in. And she was talking about these are for search engines so you can be found. And the light bulb went on. It's like, oh, that's more valuable than the websites I built. That light bulb literally just boom went off. And as I was watching what she was doing, she was teaching the class how to build these meta tags. And it didn't look right to me. I knew it wasn't right. And I raised my hand and I corrected her. And she's like, well, and at first she was a little offended because I was telling her what she was teaching was wrong. She was teaching it out of a book. So she was pretty confident she was right, but she wasn't. And she's like, well, would you like to come up, on the chalkboard and show me what you're talking about? And I did. And when I did, she realized the book was wrong. And that was the first time I got the opportunity to speak to a group about search engine optimization because I knew more than the textbook already right out of the gate. How much did I know of the whole universe of SEO? About that much. But I knew more than everyone else with just that much. That's where you guys are today with AI. I guarantee you can know about this much, which we all do, myself included, and we're light years ahead of everyone else. We're literally experts in the field of AI. It's so easy to get speaking opportunities about this. It's so easy to get yourself in front of groups of people and promote whatever you want to promote with this edge. This is a very cutting edge thing to give you an advantage. Now, it might not work in all industries. It depends on what you're doing, what you're providing, who your client base is and all that. But I bet you if you got a little bit creative, you could figure out how AI could help just about any industry and give you that competitive edge and get people to want to put you in front of their audiences. So, and I'm not talking about like podcast audiences where people are doing these podcasts and they don't have any audience following. I'm talking about like real people with stages that have people there ready to buy stuff. So lots of opportunity right now. Just want you guys to be aware of that. And you don't even have to build the tools. You could literally put on a presentation of how to use Gamma. I guarantee you, if you talk to 100 people, none of them have heard of Gamma. It's going to be literally like you walk on water when you come out and show them that tool. You don't have to have developed it. It'd be nice. I haven't even really looked. I should look and see if they have an affiliate program. It'd be nice to promote a tool that at least had an affiliate program where you could make some residual income off of it. Ideally, that's what you want to do. You want to promote tools and services where whether you're providing them or not, you're making income from them. So anyway, I have
What's
no
that
idea
website? What's that website, John? Because if you just go to gamma.com, it doesn't come up.
I believe it's app.gamma. Let me see here.
Oh, it's gamma.app.
Oh, okay.
Gamma.app. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You can also Google it. You can Google Gamma AI, and it'll give you a link in Google for it. But I have no idea where we started with the question, Teresa, but did I answer the question? Okay. I don't even remember where we started.
Well, I'll tell you something. Perplexity is teaching me how to integrate Kartra and SendGrid.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really interesting.
yeah. I've got a great story about Perplexity just from this week. I've got some mechanics on my boat, working on my boat, doing, some different stuff, some maintenance and everything. And there was a thing they didn't really know about. It was something that I wanted to put on the boat. It's these they're called pyrometers. And what they do, they measure exhaust temperature from the exhaust ports. And so I figured, since I'm putting a new exhaust system on the boat, this would be a really good time to add those, right? It would be the cheapest time it would ever be for me to add those, because I've always wanted those on this boat. For two reasons. It tells me where my fuel efficiency is best, so it's going to save me a ton of money. And secondly, it tells you if there's a problem way ahead of you otherwise knowing there's a problem, which again could save you, like, in essence, of $100,000 with these engines. Knowing there's a problem and being able to shut it down could potentially save me $100,000. So with the savings of fuel and the prevention of me spending $100,000 destroying an engine, I want these things. And the guys didn't really know which ones would work for this engine, all this stuff. So I'm like, well, let me ask Perplexity. And I told it what kind of boat I had, what year it was, all this stuff. And it actually, when it came up, gave a full, a full, full instructions, what to get, what I would need, lengths of wire to run, all the shit. And it actually had a picture of my boat. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, how in the hell did this thing get a picture of my boat? And I realized it wasn't my boat, but it was the exact model of boat that mine is. And it was striking. It came up and I'm like, holy shit, that is my boat. It had the same colors.
Way cool, John. How cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, here is mechanics that's their thing. And they learned from Perplexity how to do a job. They didn't have to research it. They didn't have to spend all day, digging through books. I showed them how to create a prompt and boom, get the answers. So could AI help a mechanic? I think I proved that pretty effectively. Even a diesel boat mechanic can use AI to save time, be more efficient, and possibly not screw something up. It's like I can't think of anything, any occupation, anything that you could be doing that this would not make you better, faster, stronger, more confident. It's like you can go in and you can sell anything with the confidence that Perplexity is going to tell you how to do it.
At least for now, is a thought came to me that, remember back in the day when you really used to be able to Google something and would get some very valuable information on it?
Yeah.
And now anything you Google, you've got to go through 47 different ads before you get to anything of substance.
Yep.
And I foresee, mark my words, that the same thing's going to happen to AI.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's no doubt advertising will pile on top of this thing. With search, one of the biggest problems with search, and this happened right out of the gate. It was guys that were realizing they could manipulate the system to put anything they wanted up, and their stuff was garbage. They were not concerned with what Google is concerned with. Google's concerned with quality. And they have a whole worldwide army of people that are against them. They don't give a shit about quality. They just want their stuff at the top. Even though they know it, they just want it at the top. Google's there to fight to keep it out of the top. That fight has been going on. He has that by nature right out of the gate. When I say Perplexity, I'm in any AI. You could be talking about OpenAI, ChatGPT, any of them. They all have that inherent problem of quality because they're pulling from all resources all across the internet, all across all data platforms. They have access to everything. And as you know, anybody can say anything online. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's any kind of quality. If you look at the internet as a pie, the sliver of high quality content is just literally that. It's a sliver. It's a sliver. How many people are out there posting stuff they have no expertise in, pretending as though they're an expert? And if you're AI, Perplexity or OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever you're using, Gemini, it doesn't matter. If you're using that platform and you're asking it generically, it's pulling from all of that. So your odds of getting the sliver of good content, pretty thin. You're going to get some real trash. So you have that problem right out of the gate with this. You didn't have to wait for the SEO people to screw it up for you. It's right out of the gate. That's why I've been saying since the very beginning how important it is for you to learn how to talk to the machine. You learn how to prompt. This is why I say start your prompt telling the AI who it is. Say you are the top, you are the best, you are a professional. That way it narrows down where it's going to get the information to give you in its output. So that's how you get the quality out of it. That's how you separate that sliver out and get it to give you the details that you want, not just everyone's opinion that's fallen out of their backsides. So it's a really cool thing. And the fact that you guys know as much as you know about prompting from what I've told you, again, you're light years ahead of everyone else. Absolutely light years ahead.
John?
Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Okay, I don't know if I can be here or not because I think of this is my last week that I paid. So I just want to make sure that I'm okay to be here. Right? Yes. Okay. Yes.
You're going to give up on us?
Yeah. So well, I'm very, very busy setting up a bunch of stuff. So I have to allocate time is gold, right? Time
Yeah.
and money, you know. So anyway, I was just on a summit yesterday that, went out to about 1,000 people. I do prompts. I've been doing prompts and practicing my own prompts for writing books and all kinds of things. And I have kind of categories or catalogs for different prompts I use. I love what you just said about the defining who you are, because I don't do that. I just say write in this voice and that voice. So it's good to know that. I also am very kind to it, saying please, or would you, all those and thank yous, all that, so that it gets that. But I was curious because there's this one guy that had the catalogs, and do you have like all your prompts in like different catalogs, if you want to call it that people can reference in this group, or is it just you're just sharing in this conversation today, and then people, each time, and people just jot down the prompts?
I really don't save the prompts because everyone is different. If I were to give you a prompt and say, this is the prompt you use, I would be really giving a disservice to you because you would just be using some generic thing that everyone else was using. What you need to learn how to do with AI is use that thing that sits between your ears. Every time you use AI, you use that thing that sits between your ears. That is your most powerful tool. You really, you don't want just generic copy and paste scripts. You can look at those like to learn stuff. In the AI book that I have on my website, I put in there like a transcript of me actually working with the AI. again, you wouldn't necessarily copy and paste my prompts because it might be in a different industry or whatever. But the whole goal there is that you learn how to talk to the machine. It's like, it would be like if you went to Mexico. How much more effective would you be if you actually learned the language versus every time you wanted to communicate with somebody, you had to look up the script for how to say that?
That's good to know because I'm doing a lot of, I've been doing AI because I'm a computer scientist, so I always hop onto these things quickly, right? On everything I've done. I had training sites back in the 90s before they were training sites. I had an Amazon cart before it was Amazon. If I would have invested in everything, I'd be a trillionaire, but I didn't. And so what I'm saying here is I'm right on the wave with all of you. And I'm knowledgeable about it, so I'll talk about things on as a guest. So I hope this audience doesn't mind that I'm talking because you're all leaving. But but I get what you're saying. One thing they're asking me for when I'm a guest on shows, right, is an opt-in, and then I teach them my prompts. So you're saying I shouldn't be teaching my prompt, but my dialogue around the prompts. That's what I'm hearing you
Yes.
say. My head game behind the prompts, so that they're understanding. They learn the head game behind the prompts.
Well, here's what I would do if I were you. You probably want to sell these people something, right?
Yeah.
So what you should be selling them is the theory behind the prompts, not the prompts themselves.
Yeah.
Give them the prompts themselves,
Yep.
but say, like, here's my download, here's my free thing. I'm going to give you 10 of my most successful prompts. And then if you'd like to learn more about why they're successful, I've got a master class that's $97.
Yeah. Thank you. That's exactly what I miss all the time. I'm always giving.
Yeah, I
I
will
don't have
teach
that.
you the inner workings of why the prompt works and how to literally make any prompt you'll ever need in your life based on what you're going to learn in the masterclass. That way, the thing that they thought they want really becomes irrelevant. It gets them to opt in, but it creates demand and desire for what you have to offer them. And that's really what the ACT program is all about. It's grab their attention with what they want, give them the promise that, hey, I'm going to give you these prompts, and these are my most successful prompts. They've done whatever. They've done this and this and this. I've exploded my business because of these prompts. And then you take all the power out of that and say, it's not really the prompt that did this. It's the power behind the prompt. And that's what I'll teach you for $97. And you'll be able to do this on any business, any product, any service for the rest of your life.
Yeah, as well, because I just got done talking to one of my clients, and that's exactly what I said about what I'm giving her as a gift to understanding, designing her packages and stuff. It's all about the power of you. And then
Yeah.
it comes from you out. So I live that way from the soft side. So this technology side, now I can design it that way too. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, if you were able to get in front of enough people, you could easily sell 10 people a week on that master class at 97 bucks. That's $1,000 a week. So you'd have a $4,000 a month income teaching people how to use AI, which they desperately need, whether they know it or not. There's a lot of examples you can give. Like, it was a perfect example of me speaking at the pool conference. I had a bunch of guys that are there to, they construct pools. And they're like, well, yeah, well, AI, yeah, we don't need that. And I'm like, well, if you want to do pool jobs, let me show you what's going to happen to you real soon. I said, you're going to show up to bid a pool job at a house, and you're going to be talking about what the pool looks like. Your competitor's going to show up behind you, because most of these people get multiple bids, right? They don't just go for the first guy. Your competitor is going to show up with a laptop. He's going to take a picture of their backyard, and he's going to go over to Midjourney and he's going to say, put a pool in it with, this kind of coping and a waterfall and beautiful landscape. He's going to show them what their backyard's going to look like with the pool. Who do you think's going to get the job? At that point, it doesn't matter who's the better contractor. It doesn't matter who's the lower price. The guy that shows them what their yard's going to look like is going to get the job. I guarantee it. And you're going to be out of business because you're sitting there with your arms folded telling me AI is shit. You just let me know in a couple of years how that worked out for you. So, I mean, anybody that is anti-AI is anti-technology. They're anti-moving forward, and they're pro going out of business and becoming irrelevant. That's basically the path they're choosing. The world changes. Like if I would have stayed a commercial photographer when technology destroyed an industry that made me fairly wealthy, if I would have sat there and said, oh, no, I'm going to stick with what I got, where would I be today? I wouldn't be sitting here on this boat. That's for sure. I'd probably be wondering where my next meal was going to come from. And that's where people are going to be real soon if they don't get out of their own way and
Well,
ride the wave.
So what you're saying is something that took me 58 years to figure out finally, and that's I'm of value and I'm powerful. And I went in many companies and they used me as an executive consultant to do their work for 35 years in different companies. And I set everything up I'm not brilliant, by the way. I would never have said that, by the way, when I was in that situation. Now I feel that way because when I stand on these stages, I can just, whatever topic comes up, I can blow them away. And they just kind of sit there like this. So now when you share this, it's like that was always the missing piece in my space. It was always this, not valuing myself. I would just do it for everyone else, right?
Yeah.
Now I am.
It literally comes down to confidence. Before, you didn't have the confidence. You had the skills and the technology. You just didn't believe in yourself.
And let me say one more thing. You talk about a shiny object. They played me for a whole year on it. Because of that, I didn't have the confidence last year because I just moved into entrepreneur world after 35 years in the industry. And now I see it. I see how they played psychology on me and how, I was in there and now I'm back to normal. With your program, I actually switched myself around just in a month by focusing on the right things,
Yeah, when you're in the corporate environment, people don't want you to be confident. They want you to be a slave. They do all kinds of psychological stuff to keep you down, keep you focused, keep you working. They don't want you to rise to the top because you've become their competitor. They don't want that. They don't want a middle class in their in their structure, because what a middle class is supposed to be coming from below, moving up. That's what the middle class is. The middle class is the climbers. And the ones on top, they don't really like the climbers. They want to kick them and kick them off the ladder because they don't want any company where they're at. They're very short-sighted. They're very greedy. And they don't realize there's enough room at the top for everyone. So the truth is there's plenty of room. There is absolute abundance everywhere. And if you don't believe that, it'll be true for you. So I see it everywhere. I have so many friends that are so talented, but they're in that corporate environment. They have no confidence. I couldn't tell them anything that would help them because they don't believe it. They don't believe in themselves, and they're never going to get out. So it's absolutely 100. If they were confident, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be settling. So it's a very, very powerful thing. You should be confident of that. You should be confident you can do anything. If you are confident that you can do anything, you will walk into any environment with your head held high, with confidence that people will see. They will feel it. They will want to work with you. They don't want to work with somebody that's unsure of themselves. A person is never going to get hired to do a job. What they'll get is they'll get hired to be an employee. This is what I realized from when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, even pre-16, me and my brother, we had a business. And my brother was older, he was 5 years older, and he knew how to sell stuff just naturally. He was really lazy and he didn't want to build anything, but he could sell it. And I was real ambitious and I could build anything. And so we had this kind of rivalry where it was kind of like, oh, I can build anything. If I can build anything you can sell. So he started selling stuff to try and prove I couldn't build it. And he was never able to prove that because I could build everything he ever sold. And so as, a 15-year-old kid, I'm making several $100s in a weekend building shit that he has sold during the week. And, when I was that age, a few $100s a week was more than like our parents were making. So I was doing really well. And then minimum wage was like $1.35. And I turned 16 and all my friends turned 16 and they all started getting jobs at fast food. And for some reason, I felt left out. I wanted to be with my friends. So this is a true story. I applied at every fast food joint within 10 miles of my house, and no one would hire me. I couldn't even get a job at McDonald's. I mean, they pride themselves on hiring anyone, even including the handicapped, and they wouldn't take me. I mean, what does that say? What does that say to a 16-year-old kid that can't even get a job at McDonald's? It was a long time before I realized why. I had way too much confidence. They wanted no part of me. They knew I was not going to fit in that role. They knew it. They wanted nothing to do with me. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I walked out of that really frustrated because a 16-year-old kid wants what he wants. And I wanted to be with my friends. And the corporate world said I couldn't. That really pissed me off. And, it basically told me that I don't need them. I'll never need them. Hell with that. And I've never worked for anyone. I've never had a job. I mean, I've worked for a lot of people, but I've never had a job. Never been on anyone's payroll. And that's confidence. That's all it was. Took me a long time to realize why I couldn't get a job. And it's the same thing. They do not want you to be confident. They want you to be a slave. And I wasn't a slave. They could clearly see that. Even at 16 years old, they were not going to be able to budge me. So, absolutely true story.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know that when I was 16, so I didn't go through the hell and high water for 35 years, but we're here now, so. I
It's
call it a storm.
never too late to learn, right? Oh, funny. All right. Well, anything else? Anybody got anything else you want me to cover specifically, or the the bot thing, building the bots? This is something that anybody can do with an OpenAI account. The $20 account at ChatGPT through OpenAI. There's a whole section in there on, it's called GPTs, custom GPTs. This is where the bots come from, custom GPTs. And you can train a bot, you can create it your own GPT, you can give it a personality, and you can give it skill sets. And then you can put it on your website. But there's a lot of different steps to that. It's not real easy to get the bot from your custom GPT and OpenAI onto your website. That's why we came out with the Build a Becky software. The Build a Becky software uses the back end of OpenAI just like they do, but we've put a front end on it to make it easy to get it to turn it into a widget and put it on your website with a simple little widget code. So the Build a Becky software is nothing real special behind the scenes. It's doing all the same thing that you can go do manually, but it's making it so much easier for you on the front end. And it's also making what you put on the website graphical. It gives you the ability to change the color scheme to match your website and all that stuff, which really makes it a turn on for web developers. And just makes it really super easy to sell to businesses because you can match their website color scheme. It looks like it's built for their site, looks like it's part of their company, can even have their logos on it. It's truly a piece for their, it's a branding piece for their company. And the fact that they get a 24/7 bot to answer questions and do customer service for them. Like, what would it cost them to man a chat bot or a chat window for 24/7? It costs them a fortune. Most small companies could not afford to even man a chat bot during business hours. Here, for a few bucks a day, you got a full-time 24/7 employee to do anything you need them to do. So that's why we did the Build a Becky software, just to make it easy for people that want to do this as a business to go and build those and sell them. So Russell, go ahead.
Hey, John, I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to ask you, is there any type of training or webinar or showing the back end of building the bot and how to go about doing that? Like, say you have a frequently asked questions document and you kind of want to start with that and go into there and start building it.
Yeah, we did, like, when I did the original sale on it, I did a webinar with it of how to use it. And it goes through all that. It goes through all the steps of setting it up, how to create the personality, how to train it with the Q&As and all that stuff. And did you get the Build a Becky software?
I want to, and I finally found a developer that works with Shopify to add the widget because that's some coding that has to be done.
Yeah,
So
because it's basically, it's the training that comes with it.
okay.
It's probably a half hour or 45 minutes of me going through the setup process.
Do you happen to know where I could find that training?
It gets delivered. I can send you, if you send me an email, I can just send you a link to the video.
Okay.
But it usually goes out in the thank you video of here's how to get in, here's how to use it, all that.
Okay. And you still have the promotion running on it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
All right. I'll just do that then. Thank you.
All right, cool. Helene, you had your hand up there. Do you still?
I still have a question. Yes.
Okay.
I finally have, I'm organized with Go High Level to make a funnel. I finally organized. And I've finally linked Shopify to that funnel, and I've finally, I've written this book on how to get rid of low back pain in 2 minutes, and I'm selling this book using that funnel, and now I'd like to have acquisition air to find more customers, and I don't know if I can still make use of the prices that you put in originally, and also uh, what else I should be doing.
Okay.
Those are
Yeah,
the-
the original pricing, yeah, that's not a problem. We can take care of that for you. That's not a big deal. With acquisitionnaire, you gotta make sure that you're ready for that. That's a traffic source. So it's always on the end of your campaign. You got to make sure you've identified your market, got your avatar down, and you figured out the messaging for them, like how you're going to grab their attention and all that. That is so critical. Because otherwise, just like any traffic source, all a traffic source is going to be is expensive for you if you can't convert them. And acquisitionnaire is no different. It's absolutely no different. The only thing with acquisitionnaire is it shows you really fast if you know what you're doing or not. Like with SEO, you can spend years with SEO to figure out you don't know how to convert your traffic. With this, it shows you really fast. Like you can buy 100 leads and have them show up, within a day or two, and you know if they're working or not. So there's a big plus to it there for testing. But just understand, acquisitionnaire is not a magic bullet. It's not like, you're going to pour people in that are going to just buy your stuff. You have to be able to communicate the value and be able to sell your stuff. So where acquisitionnaire is really good, it's really good as a scalable traffic source. Like for people that already have a funnel, they're already converting, they know it works. They know their stuff sells, they know how to sell it, and they're looking to scale up those sales. That's where it really shines. But like there's a lot of people that have not yet figured out how to sell their stuff, and it does not solve that. So I don't want you to go into it, with false expectations.
Well, that's why I waited so long, is because I was trying to get everything sort of connected before
Uh-huh.
I invested in acquisitionnaire, actually.
Okay. Yeah, and you might be ready. I'm not saying that you're not. I just want you to understand that. You might try it, you might find out, oh, well, I guess I'm really not ready yet. So,
And and uh,
and
that's where Build a Becky would come in.
no, not necessarily. Build a Becky is a chatbot. That's for traffic on your website. Like, let's say, for instance, if you have people coming to your website 24/7 and they want to interact with somebody to get a quick answer to something, and they hit you in the middle of the night and there's no one there. So what happens is they skip to someone else's site where they can get an answer. That's where Build a Becky works. Build a Becky is more about customer service than direct client acquisition. So it's more about automation. What you want to do, you want to think about your business of what are the systems in your business that actually work? Like what physically works in the real world, and then you want to try and automate it. So like if you've got somebody that comes to you and they're ready to buy something, but they have a question. And you know what happens if you're not there to answer the question, they don't buy, right? So that's where Build a Becky could come in. She could step in and answer that question 24/7 and plug that hole and automate that single little step of your process for you, right? You also in your business process, you have prospecting. You have finding people and getting the word out to them. That's where Acquisitionaire can automate that process for you. But you also know that finding people and getting in front of them isn't all it takes. You have to have something effective to pull them in. Acquisitionaire does not do that. It just puts you in front of them. You have to have that mechanism to pull them in. And if you haven't done that in the real world, it's just kind of speculation of what might work in the offline world.
Oh, I do have something very effective, actually.
Okay.
It's essentially a 2-minute video that teaches people how to get rid of their own low back pain. And the video has a 90% success rate, which means that
Okay.
90% of those who have low back pain will end up with no pain when they finish the 2-minute exercise. So I
Okay.
think,
And what does that lead them to?
well, that will lead them to a book on how to get rid of low back pain and how to stay rid of low back pain. Like the video is just how to
So,
get it right
so
away.
there's a huge flaw in that. You get that right.
Oh,
If you've given me for free a 2-minute video that's guaranteed to get rid of my back pain, I don't want the book.
well, the thing is that the back pain will come back. The pain goes away when you do the video.
Yeah.
But
Nobody wants to read a book. I'm just telling you the honest truth here.
but
Nobody.
how to prevent it coming back.
Okay, well,
That's what you
people are
gotta do.
not.
You gotta sell them you gotta sell them into something that they need to come by to say, this is the ongoing, I can teach you the ongoing process. That needs to be your upsell.
Yeah. See, what you probably should do is say, okay, you have lower back pain. You describe the torture that they're going through. You say, I have the solution for you. It's provided in the book they don't want. I'll tell you that right now. But the solution is provided in the book. If you purchase the book, I will give you a 2-minute video and your back pain will be gone in 2 minutes without having to even read the book. That's how you sell the book.
John, you are a genius.
I'm just telling you how people work. They don't want to buy a book. If you want to sell them a book, you better figure out how to make them want the book, because they don't want the book. They want the solution. You just had your pieces out of order. If you give them that good piece up front, your chances of selling that book just went to hell in a handbasket.
I'm gonna need that recording. I'm going to
That,
send everybody.
but seriously, that's what I'm talking about with Acquisitionaire. If you haven't figured out your sequence and you're bringing people to it, Acquisitionaire is not going to sell it for you. It's just going to bring them to you. So you don't want to pay for having a bunch of people brought to you that you're going to not be successful with.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing is that I've got this cream that is twice as effective as any other pain or itch cream. Actually, it takes away itch in seconds. And even in people who've had itch for years, I can just take it away because it shuts down the nerves that go to where you're itching, that go to your brain. And so and I've proven that. I mean, I've done a research project. I've actually proven that it shuts down the pain and itch nerves. And so now how do I sell that?
and you get that that's a completely different audience, right?
Yes.
That's totally different thing, different angle, different marketing. The whole messaging is completely different. Since that is not a book, that's an actual physical cream. That's a magic potion. So what you're selling is the magical potion. And that should be fairly simple to do. I've seen in that type of stuff, the way I've seen it sold really effectively is offering a free sample. And
Yeah,
this
I
goes on. Hold on, hear me out here. I know you don't want to send free samples. I get that. And this is the solution to that problem as well. So just hear me out on this one. The free sample is the key. It's just like giving away the free book and they pay the shipping. So in the process of them saying, yeah, I want the free sample, I'm willing to pay the shipping. Okay, no problem. Now you have changed the relationship. They're no longer a prospect. They're actually a customer. You just broke the code and figured out how to sell to that person. Now, in the process, they've already put their credit card in. You've already made the sale. Now your process is, by the way, if you purchase the actual product here, you're going to get your free sample anyway. But if you purchase the actual product here, you have the ability, let's say, and I'm just going to make numbers up for illustration. The cream's $100 a tube retail, and you pay $12.95 shipping on each tube. Because you just bought the free sample, you're going to get an offer right now to get 3 tubes for the price of 1 and get free shipping. And,
You're
and,
genius.
and you can also get them on recurring. And you can say, it's 3 for 1, so you're going to get 3 tubes for $100. If you get us on auto ship where you get 1 tube a month every month, we'll discount 10% off of that, and it's only $90.
I'm speechless. I mean, this is it's fabulous.
So that's an offer. That's an irresistible offer. So when you have your presentation, what comes at the end of the presentation is an irresistible offer. So you've got to figure out, how do I change the relationship here? This is the time. This is like where the rubber meets the road. We've done our song and dance. Now it's down to, we need to acquire a customer. So that's where an irresistible offer comes in. That's part of your presentation. That's part of the creation process and act. You have to grab attention. This is your lead magnet. This is your headline. This is your subject line of an email to get them to open it, so you can suck them in. And then you get them into the presentation where you create demand and desire for the product. This is where you tell them, hey, here's how it works. Here's what it's going to do. Here's why you want it. Then you eliminate objections and you make an irresistible offer. It doesn't change. I've been telling people how to do this for well over a decade, and it hasn't changed. I learned it from ad agencies. They've been doing it for well over 100 years. It hasn't changed. Technology didn't change it. The internet didn't change it. AI is not going to change it. The way we purchase as human beings doesn't really change. The only thing that changes is the delivery mechanism, the way the message is delivered. Before the internet, you saw it on TV, you saw it in magazines, you heard it on the radio. Now you see it in social media, you see it in the internet and searches, all that. Next, you might be seeing stuff show up in AI. People are going to start, I'll tell you what product owners are going to start doing. Product owners are going to start creating content that the AI is going to pick up on and know how to answer things. Like, think about this. I went to AI and said, I have this itch I can't get rid of. I've had it for over a decade. And all of a sudden the AI says, oh, you need to contact Helene. She's got a cream she put out and it works wonders. Now the freaking AI just made the sale for you because you trained the AI with content that you put out and baited it.
And
That's
how
what's coming.
you said, and how did I bait it?
You baited it by creating the content and putting it out publicly for the AI to scrape it and learn.
Okay. Because I did have patients who had untreatable itch. I mean, one woman had 15 years of itch so bad on her skull that she had no more hair, and she was scratching all the time. And she comes in because she's got sore shoulders from scratching. And so I said, well, I can fix your shoulders, but like if you keep scratching, you're hurting your shoulders. She says, I can't stop.
Yeah.
It's 15 years. I said, what have you tried? She says, I've tried everything. And I said, why don't you try this cream I'm experimenting with? So she says it's not gonna work. I said, wait, why don't you? So she puts it on, and later her itch is gone, like for the first time in 15 years. And when she came back, she had this much hair all over her head. Her plaque psoriasis had disappeared, and her shoulders weren't hurting anymore because she wasn't scratching anymore. And so I think it's very, very good for stopping itch. Like my grandkids, before they could speak, if they had mosquito bites and were scratching, I'd put the cream on and they stopped scratching like right away. Like that was it. Uh, and I've experienced that myself. I mean, covered with mosquito bites, and I never needed to scratch because the itch went away. So I know it.
But creating the way to train the AI with that is not through testimonials and stories like you just told.
Yeah.
Way to train the AI that you have the solution is to write a paper about how to stop an itch that's been going on for a decade.
I did. And it's been published in a medical journal.
Yeah, but you published it in a medical journal using highly technical medical jargon like you always do. You need to write on a third grade level so people can understand. You're not doing this for a medical journal. A medical journal is so you can convince the medical community. That's not your customer. What you need to do is convince the person that has the problem. They don't want to read a medical journal paper, right? You need to speak the language of who you're trying to communicate with. And if I guarantee your people are not reading medical journals. So if you want to train the AI to communicate with your folks, you need to train it to communicate with your folks. So that's the difference. And it every time it always goes back to ACT, understanding your audience and understanding how to communicate with them. And I know that's hard for you because of your background. You are way up at the top where it's very lonely. You don't have anybody to talk to. And who you're trying to talk to is you're trying to talk to the base of that pyramid, all the people that have the problem. But you're talking to the people that are up there in the top of the pyramid with you. They're not your buyers. You need to figure out what's the language down here in the base of that pyramid. And you need to learn that language. It would be like you going to Mexico and practicing your French. Right? That's what it's like. And when you're speaking the wrong language in the wrong nation, that's what it's like. Doesn't do you much good to practice French in Mexico.
Yeah, thank goodness I can speak fluent Spanish.
So anyway, I hope that helps.
Very much so, John. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. it's good to see you back. I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, because I've been writing this book.
Oh, cool.
It's just been published, and now I've realized that I need to create all these stuff that I need to do, like actually sell.
Now you just got to figure out how to sell it. So
And
I
help.
think you should be on the right track now.
Yeah.
Just realize you're not selling the book, you're selling the solution. The book is a hurdle they have to jump over to get the solution. The solution's in the 2-minute video that you're going to give them as a bonus, so they don't have to read the book, so they get instant results, because that's what they want. They don't have to read a book to get their result. They want the result in 2 minutes, like the video you made them.
Well, the book has a series of QR codes with videos attached to those QR codes so that people not only get, I mean, they get all kinds of things. They get how to lose weight, how to, with no effort, how to,
So you could sell that book to probably 10 different avatars. What you
yeah,
did with the 2-minute video on how to get rid of back pain in 2 minutes, how to lose weight in 10 minutes, how to get rid of itch in 10 minutes, how to stop a tooth from falling out in 10 minutes. Whatever you got that you can solve in 2 minutes, sell the book on the front end and give them that bonus of I'll solve it for you in 2 minutes without having to read the book.
well, they still have to read the book if they don't want the pain to come back. And
That's up to them. That's their choice. And if you force them to read the book, you're not going to sell squat.
okay, you're
I can just tell you unequivocally that is correct.
well, and as a master salesman, I bow to your knowledge.
If the book is for you, the book is going to get them what they really need. But unless you can only sell them what they want. You can't sell them what they need. You have to give them what they need, but you got to sell them what they want. What they want is they want their back pain to go away in 2 minutes. They don't want to read a book to do it, because they can't read a book in 2 minutes.
You know that I was kicked out of the Canadian Pain Society because that contains doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, and all these people who actually make a lot of money out of people who have low back pain. And here I am, people how to remove their own pain.
Yeah, they don't like you.
No, not at all. I mean, I was kicked out.
Yeah, you're a threat to them.
Yeah.
But you'll be a bigger threat if you figure out how to sell your stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I need you, John.
Right now, you're only a theoretical threat. You become a real threat when you figure out how to sell your stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, cool. Looks like we covered some good ground for today. I hope you guys really do understand how far ahead that you actually are and how confident you should be because of that. You all know more than just about anybody when it comes to AI. The only thing most people know about AI is ChatGPT and how to write a birthday card. And they're not even doing that very effectively. So anything that you share with them, you're going to be put upon a pedestal because of your knowledge. And that alone should give you confidence to whatever you're trying to sell. You can use AI as that door opener, that thing to open the door to help you get your foot in. So, and use it for yourself. I mean, use it for yourself for research. This is one of the things I've decided I'm going to redo the entire analysis portion of the ACT program, because all the stuff, all the ways that I taught how to figure out your analysis has become instantly irrelevant with AI. It will do it so much better, so much faster, so much cheaper, and more effectively than any of the ways I've ever taught in the past. So
Cool.
it'll tell you who your audience is, who all of your potential audiences are, all the segments, which is the most profitable one, which one you should focus on first. It'll do all your competitor research. This is one of the coolest things I've discovered about doing the research, is in the analysis portion. One of the things that I was teaching was competitor analysis. Like, you go and you analyze your competitor. You figure out, what's their messaging? Who are they targeting? All that stuff. Well, with Perplexity, you can literally put the URL in of your competitor's sales page, and you can say, please analyze this page and tell me who the average reader of this would be. And I would like the demographic information. I would like their demographics, their psychographics, and the emotional buying triggers that would make someone want to purchase this product. Now, that product is equal to yours. It's your competitor. So this is going to tell you not only who is the perfect customer for you, but how to sell to them. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about them in one shot. You could have all the analysis you would ever need in about 5 minutes, instead of going through and toiling over all the stuff I taught the ACT program of how to do your analysis. If you've got a big, solid competitor, that one prompt will just about get you everything you need to know to move into creation and start writing your sales copy, start creating your mousetrap.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. So, all right, well, just keep in mind, everybody that's on here, I said it earlier, for the next 4 weeks, we're moving this call to Monday, because I've got so many different presentations I'm doing out of town. And then the 4th week is 4th of July. So on that Thursday. So for the following 4 weeks, we'll be on a Monday schedule at 11, and then we'll be back to the Thursday schedule. So sorry for the inconvenience, but it's not much I can do about it. All right. Well, have a great week, you guys, and we will see you next week. Actually, not too long from now, next Monday.
Next Monday.
Get your questions together and do your lead magnets. Like last week, I had everybody put their hands up that didn't have a lead magnet still. Get your lead magnets done, or at least know what you need to do for a lead magnet. Get into Perplexity. Have Perplexity look at your website. Have Perplexity look at your competitors' websites, and ask it, what should I use as a lead magnet to build my list? That's all you have to do. So, all right, guys, we'll go do that, and let's get back Monday and tell me what you got.
Hey, guys, Google Mamas and Papas Monday, and we'll play the song. And John, I sent you an email earlier about accessing for my website. I had my first meeting with the webmaster. She's ready to roll. So thank you.
Oh, okay. I'll get that over to you right now.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
All right. We will see you guys on Monday.
Monday.
Bye-bye. And for those of you in crypto, that'll be 2:00 today. So talk to you then.
Aye, Captain.